There's a lot of people when they buy a house forget that with home ownership comes responsibility. Think about long-term plans, like where you're gonna be, what your plan is to do. Hey everybody, it's Damon and Associates, Realtors Brokered by Real. Welcome to our channel. There is a lot that no one bothers to tell you about buying a home until it's too late. If you're a first-time home buyer, these are the 10 things that can derail the home buying process that I've seen in my experience. Let's go through them together so that you don't learn them the hard way. So mistake number one is gonna be not getting pre-approved through a mortgage. There's a couple reasons to get pre-approved for a mortgage up front. Let me give you a couple. Number one, expectations. If you start looking at $400,000 houses and then you're pre-approved for a $300,000 house, unfortunately a $300,000 house is not gonna have the size and the amenities and the trim levels that a $400,000 house will have. And so what that's going to do is set you up for failure. You're going to be disappointed. The other thing is that you're going to be looking at neighborhoods that might be totally inappropriate for that budget. There's about 5 other things we can discuss. If you'd like more on it, comment below and we'll go deeper into this topic. Number 2, overlooking total home ownership costs. So if you've been on Zillow, Realtor.com, any of those sites, you see, hey, this is what my mortgage payment will be. But what they didn't tell you is that that's with 20% down, an 880 credit score, everything else perfect in the situation. That's not the real cost. If you're not putting 20% down, there's other things to consider. PMI, private mortgage insurance, homeowner's insurance, POA, HOA fees, taxes. All these things play into a payment for your total home ownership cost. So a lot of people say, oh, that's only $1,700 a month. I can swing that. Well, that $1,700 didn't take into account the $300 a month taxes, the $150 a month in insurance, or the $200 POA fee. So all of a sudden, what you thought was $1,700 is $2,300, $2,400, and it's no longer in your budget. On to point number 3. Focusing too much on the home's aesthetic appeal. What I mean by that is we all want a pretty house, but there's a saying that's pretty is as pretty does. And you can have the prettiest house in the world that's missing some of the structural foundation issues. You want a house that's built solid. And so I'm not saying you have to buy an ugly house. What I'm saying is just because a house is pretty, just because it looks good, doesn't mean it is good. And so we want to focus and make sure that when you buy a house, you buy one that is structurally sound and that looks good. Mistake number 4 is not researching the neighborhood. I don't know how many times in my career someone calls me after they purchase the house and they say, hey, I want to sell my house. Why? I don't like this neighborhood. Man, it is so much cheaper. It is far more affordable to find out you don't like the neighborhood before you buy there than after you buy there. So I highly encourage you, if you're going to buy a home in a certain neighborhood, go ride around it in the morning, go ride around it during the middle of the day, go ride around in the evening and make sure the neighborhood is what you want it to be. Real important thing to remember is that you're not going to change your neighbors. I don't know how many times people have told me, well, once I buy it, I'll call the city or I'll call the county and make them clean that up. Look, that was the last guy's plan also, and it didn't work. That's why he just sold you the house. If it's not how you want it today, it's not going to change tomorrow. So look at the neighborhood before you make an offer, before you buy the house, so that you're not calling me months down the road saying, hey, wish I hadn't bought this. What can we do to get out of here? Mistake number 5 is ignoring the home inspection or not doing a home inspection. And look, we've done an entire segment on the home inspection, but real quick, just gonna tell you, always get a home inspection. When I buy houses, when I buy investment properties, when I buy rentals, when I buy flips, I always get a home inspection. Always, 100% of the time, always get a home inspection. But when you get that, take the time to go through that home inspection and look at it. And if there's a material defect, if there's a structural issue, if there's something that causes alarm, raises awareness, ask questions. Don't close on a house that has a bad home inspection and then expect it to get fixed afterwards. If it gets fixed afterwards, it's getting fixed on your dime. A home inspection is there to give you a report card of a house. Right? You need to go through it. You need to look for things that weren't apparent to the naked eye that are cause for alarm in the future or cause for alarm now. That's why we do a home inspection. Mistake number 6 is stretching your budget too thin. I will tell you that historically, if you buy at the upper end of your price range, it is a smarter decision because in 10 years, that payment will seem really low. However, I don't ever tell anyone, I don't ever want to see anyone buy a house and eat ramen noodles. Now, my kids eat ramen noodles because they like it. I don't get it. They love it. But you don't want to eat ramen noodles because you have to. All right. So what you want to do is when you buy a house, you want to look at it and you want to be able to budget for things like repairs. If that roof is not new and it's in the last 3 to 4 years of the life of the roof, you will be buying a roof. So you need to budget. If that roof is $10,000 and it's got 4 years left, $2,500 a year has to come from somewhere to budget for that roof. If the HVAC's 15 years old and the average lifespan of HVAC is 15 to 17 years, you need to budget, $7,000 to $10,000, $12,000 to replace that HVAC over the next couple of years. There's a lot of people when they buy a house forget that with home ownership comes responsibility. And with that responsibility, you need to budget for those unexpected repairs. So while I tend to tell people to buy at the upper end of their budget because in 10 years that payment will seem really, really cheap, I don't want you to buy at the very top of your budget where one, you're eating ramen noodles, and two, if something happens that you have to look at leaving the house because you can't live there any longer. Mistake number 7 is not understanding the offer or the contract terms. Please ask your agent, what does this mean? What does this obligate me to? What am I saying here? If you don't understand, please don't feel stupid. We do this for a living, day in, day out. You don't. You're hiring an agent to represent you in your best interest. Please ask the questions. What does this mean? What am I obligating myself to? What does this paragraph mean? They should be able to paraphrase it, put it in layman's terms. If for any reason you're not comfortable, don't understand, don't like the way the question was answered, please seek legal advice. We can get you with the closing attorney we used. You can ask for explanations, or you can hire your own attorney. And I'm not saying you have to hire an attorney. What I'm saying is don't sign a contract you don't understand. If you don't understand something, get it in layman's terms. If you still don't understand it, don't sign it until you understand it. Mistake number 8 is rushing the process. I've got to have a house. I got to have it now. Do you gotta or do you wanna? Two different things. And I understand, a lot of people, for some people, especially first-time home buyers, sometimes it is often like getting a new credit card when you're 18 years old. You got a pre-approval for $200,000. I want to buy a house. Let's buy the right house. Let's buy the right house for you, your family, and your situation. Let's slow down. There's a phrase I use all the time with my agents. I know it frustrates some of them. It's called slow down to speed up. And what I mean by that is if we take our time to do our due diligence, if we take our time to think about where we want to live, if we take our time to think about the house and how it's going to fit our lifestyle and how it's going to go forward, we tend to make a better decision. So I would tell you to slow down to speed up. Meet with the agent, do a buyer strategy session, learn about the process. Watch these videos. These videos are free. Watch these videos, find other videos out there. Learn about the process, learn how to protect yourself. Start doing the homework before you're ready to buy, and then make a really, really well-informed buyer decision. Mistake number 9 would be not doing a final walkthrough. You want to do a final walkthrough in the house, and that is the seller has their possessions out. Hopefully, you're not in there. You can see everything. Was there damage to the house? And look, all you can ask for is what was different from the time you contracted on the house, from the time you put it under contract to the day you close, exception being any repairs they agreed to make, they made. All right. If you didn't know that there was a great big hole in the wall behind the couch, really can't ask anything because you had your home inspection, you had your bite at the apple, you didn't know. So you really can't say, like, they picked up the area rug in the living room and there's a stain on the carpet or on the floor in the living room or on the hardwoods, there's a urine stain or a black dot on the hardwoods. You really can't ask for that to be fixed because you already had your home inspection. It didn't change from the time of your home inspection until the contract. What you're looking for is they're moving furniture out and they crash down the steps and put a hole in the drywall at the bottom of the steps. Seen that one way too often. That you can ask for because that's damage that was done to the house. What I would highly encourage you to do on a walkthrough is go through and make sure everything's still working. Turn on the faucets, turn on the sink, look in the fridge, see if it's cold, see if the dishwasher runs, look and see if the HVAC's running. Please make sure the HVAC is running. And that's your last bite. That's your last chance to make sure. We had an example this last week, walkthrough. My sales manager, Dawn, hopefully you watched some of her videos. She did a walkthrough and it was like 85 degrees in the house and it was set on 70. Seller said, oh, it's because we were moving in and out, the doors were open. Didn't really feel good good, called an HVAC technician in there in the HVAC shot. So if they had moved in without the walkthrough, they would have eaten a $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 HVAC system. So do your final walkthrough on the house. Now, that being said, if you have pre-possession, you're signing a piece of paper saying that you've taken possession of the house and that you're accepting it in the condition there. If for some reason you get in the night before to clean the house, whatnot, kind of had your walkthrough. Like you had possession of the house the night before to do the cleaning and whatnot. If there was an issue, you should have stated that issue before you closed. And so do a walkthrough, take a look at the house, make sure everything that's supposed to be repaired is repaired. Mistake number 10 is failure to make long-term plans or look at your long-term needs. And what I mean by that is this, let's just say you and your beloved get married and you're talking about having children and it's a 2-bedroom house. 2-bedroom house can get really small really quick. How soon do you want to sell it? How big are you gonna need? How fast are you gonna expand your family? Because typically, historically, appreciation is 2 to 3 to 4% per year. And so if you have costs associated with the sale, and so it'd be really hard to break even on a house typically if you sell it in the first 2 to 3 years. And so let's say you have a blended family or you're gonna have a blended family. You buy this house and right now it's just you, but next year you're marrying Billy Bob and Billy Bob's got 3 kids and you got 3 kids and you bought a 3-bedroom house. Now you're gonna have 6 kids, 2 parents, 3-bedroom house. Is that gonna work for you or is that not? Think about long-term plans, like where you're gonna be, what your plan is to do. So that, I'm not saying buy too much house, but buy enough house when you buy it for your near future so that you're not calling me. And look, I love selling houses. If you want to buy a house every year, buy a house every year, please. Like, don't tempt me with a good time. But I don't want to put you in financial hardship. And so when you're looking at purchasing a house, the average person owns a house about 7 years. So when you look at purchasing a house, is it going to meet my long-term plans? And long-term doesn't have to be 30 years, but it probably needs to be 5, 7 years, 5, 10 years, something like that. Will it meet my needs for that time period? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, do I want to buy it? Do I need to, make some adjustments to it? What do I want to do with that? So the best way to protect yourself is to, number 1, hire our team, Damon and Associates Realtors, which if you can't do that, do number 2, which would be to hire yourself a very knowledgeable, good, well-trained agent with experience. And there are some really, really good, experienced, well-trained agents in the market. I just happen to think we have the best ones. So whatever you do, protect yourself, do your due diligence, hire yourself a good agent. Don't just hire somebody because your friend, because you go to church with them, because your cousin Bob knows Billy's wife got a real estate license. You're spending multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hire an agent with the experience, the knowledge, and the training to represent you in your best interest. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Thank you for watching, and we shall see you in the next one.